And I stress the great creative strategy because that's very, very important. You must have a great creative strategy, and I'll tell you why. And this is probably very, very obvious, but it's good to say it this way so that we're all understanding it. Digital signs do not equal television. And I'll break this down in a little mathematical way. TV equals advertisements and what I call the good stuff, which is the program. Digital signs equals advertisements minus the good stuff. Take away the programming and it's just advertising. So the question is, where's the good stuff? And so that's right there kind of the attractor to digital signs. In a way, it's a challenge to us as a creative agency to kind of overcome that. So the answer to this is you have to make the content, you have to make the advertising the good stuff. You've got to step up the level. You can't think of it as, well, I'm going to take some TV advertisements or some brochures and animate them and so forth. You can't think of advertisements in that way. You have to give something back to the viewer. So how do we do that? Well, what we do is we start to break down in two ways. We look at the problem from two ways. First of all, we try to develop what we call the display personality profile. To get a holistic picture of what is the display personality. And they involve the things that we've been talking about here today. It's a little checklist, the location, the audience, what are the adjacent cast members, what are the other things that can be seen in the location. Those are all competing for the attention of the viewer. The sight lines, the distance, how far away do I see it? How long do I pass by the things? These are all part of a large formula that play into what the sign wants to be, what the personality is, what's the ambient sound level in the space, and with the clients, and many, many other things. But basically what that will do is we'll start to build a picture for this unique instance of a digital sign. And every one of them is different. And it can be different over different periods of the day as well. So during the morning, as we've discussed, it's going to be very different than in the afternoon. So we take that display personality profile, and that's on the one hand. And then on the other hand is what we call the prime objective, or what are you trying to sell? The owner of that media is trying to do something. It doesn't always match or jive. I apologize to the translator, I don't know how you're going to get that one. But it doesn't always mix with what the display personality is. Those two things don't match. But what you need to do as a content creator is you have to find the common ground between those two things. So in other words, if I am an owner of a digital sign network in a fitness club, and my advertiser is McDonald's, I can't advertise the triple cheese with sauce on it. I have to think about advertising the salads and the healthy apples or whatever that is. So you can't just blindly advertise on any sign because you got, and this is all standard advertising stuff, but you really do need to think about that personality and to know that basically the effective content is going to come from that unison of those two factors. You have to develop the right mix. Every display has as many as 4 very broad types of content. All right, so we talked about that here. Mr. Fisher was speaking about it earlier. We have branding, we have advertising, we have information or public service announcements that we call it. It might be train schedules, it might be flight times, so forth. And then you have what we broadly call entertainment or art. And those two last sections are what we call the good stuff, or your highest probability of getting the good stuff. And so every display is going to have a different, we put these in a sort of a pie, and this is going to represent our loop of content. It's going to have different ratios of those 4 items. So for example, if I was a clothing store, I might play a lot of branding. I might have no advertising because I don't want to take third-party advertising. If I'm a high-brand Nike store, I'm not going to advertise potato chips or anything in my store. I want it to be mostly branding. I might have a little entertainment, some art, and I might have some information, what time, what's the weather, what sporting events are in the area. But that's the way my